Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's webinar. Today's webinar is Supercharge Google Sheets with Add-ons. Before we get started today, if you're watching the recorded version of the session, you may want to stop and take a look at the handout materials if you want to install any of the add-ons before we begin. You do not need to, but if you are interested, you can do that before we begin. There's also a sample of the spreadsheet that I'll be using today if you'd like to follow along. All the materials are available at tiny.cc/spark, SPARCC234. Again, that's tiny.cc/SPARCC234. And when you go to that, you'll be able to find a number of the materials for today. This session is part of a series of free webinars offered every week or two by SPARC, the Stark Portage Area Computer Consortium. SPARC is an information technology center in Northeast Ohio, where my colleague Eric and I support approximately 30 school districts. However, this webinar is open to everyone, and we would like to welcome all the people who have joined us live today or are watching the recording in the future. My name is Anthony Luskery, and I am a technology integration specialist at SPARC. I will be your presenter for the session today, along with my colleague Gary Kurtz, who'll be keeping an eye on the shared document. If you're interested in filling out anything on the question and answer document, Eric will be following that. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping items. There's a link, ti.apps.sparcc.org. You can also find that from the page that I gave earlier, the Tiny CC. And if we go there to the home section, you will see that we have resources for our technology integration. In addition to the webinars today, there's a spot where you can sign up for our newsletter to receive updates on any of the upcoming webinars. There's also a link to my webpage under technology links and information. If you go back to the top menu, you will see that we have 38 webinars recorded at this point in time, and we will continue to add them. So today's will be the 39th webinar in the series. For each of the webinars, including the one today, you will find the recorded feed from the webinar, along with some help, guides, and information. In this case, a slideshow and a couple of links. There's also a live chat document for questions and answering. There's also a session evaluation. We really appreciate if you could fill that out at the very end. And then at the very, very bottom of the page, there's a section labeled Session Quiz. After watching the session, you can take the quiz, and if you pass the quiz, it will send you a PDF for 1 contact hour through the Stark County ESC. So let's get started with today's topic, supercharging sheets with add-ons. Now, Google Sheets, if you're not familiar with it at all, if you're not familiar with spreadsheets, I would strongly suggest you go back and go to our webinars and visit Spreadsheets 101, possibly Spreadsheets 102 to get a little more background on how Google spreadsheets work in general, and then you can worry about the add-ons after that. But the add-ons allow us to do extra things. And I've made a list of add-ons, and it's available through the Help Center, and I've labeled them with a little key, either an M, an O, or an E. And what that basically stands for, and there's some crossover in these names, M means that it provides more functionality in Google Sheets. For example, the advanced find and replace gives you more features than the regular find and replace in Google Sheets. The O stands for add-ons that work with other tools. Quite often it might be a Google Form or Google Doc. One of the ones you might realize is Flubaroo, Formule, some other ones. So if you see an O in front of it, that means it works with other Google apps. And then E gives it more of an Excel-like functionality. So if you're using Google Sheets, very, very similar to Excel, but there are a couple things that are a little bit different in the way they work. And if you miss those things, Some of these add-ons will give you some of the features that are very similar to Excel as opposed to some of the Google functionality. One example is being able to use something called text to columns, which is available in Excel. Google calls it splitting or split, and they both work very similar, but if you're more interested in using the text to columns type of interface, there are some examples here with the E in front of it that give you some more Excel type of functionality within Google Sheets. For example, inserting and deleting cells works slightly different in the two. If you want a more Excel type of experience, you can use the add-on insert and delete cells. Now, I keep talking about add-ons, but I really haven't jumped into the first part of the add-ons that we really need to know about. First of all, add-ons are special little programs that are added to each of the applications. There's a couple things that are common to all the add-ons. On our menu bar, you will see a spot for add-ons. At the very bottom of that, you will see a section. My list is very long. Hopefully your list will be much shorter. That says Get Add-ons. When we click on the Get Add-ons section, it brings up a page that allows us to search for an add-on. So let's say, for example, I wanted to find roll call. I can simply click there. Then I click on the button. Now yours is going to be blue, and it'll say free, and that's where you install it by clicking on that. Now, the nice thing is once you've installed an add-on under your account, under your Google Apps account, it'll work any place that you're using your Google Apps account and wherever you're signed in, whatever device. It's not device dependent. And also it'll work in all the future spreadsheets you create, not just the one you're working on right now. So add-ons are only required to be installed one time. Now, what does not happen though is add-ons only work in a specific application they're designed to work with, or if they have additional functionality and other things, they work with that. But add-ons need to be added separately for, and they are different from add-ons for docs and add-ons for sheets. So they're not the same exact add-ons that you would have. So if you install an add-on under sheets, it won't be available under docs. It won't be available under forms. So let's take a look at some of our add-ons. What I've done today is I've created a spreadsheet with a number of add-ons on that we'll be going through, and that is available on the web page. Again, tiny.cc/SPARCC234. And I'm going to jump over to that spreadsheet right now. On the first tab of the spreadsheet, let's slide over there. I got a few tabs extra. First tab on our spreadsheet gives us some examples of some of the add-ons we're going to be talking about today. Very similar to those that I just mentioned earlier. And then each tab across the bottom is one or more different add-ons. The first add-on I want to take a look at is called Yet Another Mail Merge. And Yet Another Mail Merge is a way for you to take a spreadsheet of information that includes an email. It has to have an email in it, and allows you to create a custom merged email along with the information that's there and send it to the recipient of the email. Now, this add-on requires that you use Google Email or Gmail to be able to send out your email with Yet Another Mail Merge. So the two have to work interchangeably. You cannot use this with another type of email system such as Outlook. So the first thing we can do is we can either start with our information first, but we would eventually need to create a template page. And that template page is going to be our Google Docs, our Gmail message. So I'm going to jump over to my Gmail for a second here. Pardon the giant amount of clutter on the page. I'm going to jump over there. I'm going to go to drafts. And under drafts, you will see that I have created the first draft here called Doggy Sweaters. And Doggy Sweaters is the template we're going to use for Yet Another Mail Merge. And you'll notice that I have brackets around certain words. Those are the field names in Yet Another Mail Merge. And what will happen is when Yet Another Mail Merge runs, it will take that information and replace it with the information from the spreadsheet. Now, once you create the template or the draft, simply close it. Make sure you do not discard it. If you discard it, it will no longer work. So you can either minimize it, you can close it, whatever you'd like to do. We're just going to jump back over to the other sheet right now and take a look at how it actually works. So if we go into our, let's close this extra sheet so we don't keep going there. If you go to our sheet here, you'll see that we have our information in here. A lot of times this information will come in via a form. So remember, the back end of the forms are a spreadsheet. So when the information comes in through a form, it goes into a spreadsheet, and that allows you to use all these add-ons that are available for spreadsheets, even though we're starting out with a form to begin with. So we're going to come up to the top and we're going to click on add-ons. And when we go to add-ons, we're going to go to the one called Yet Another Mail Merge, very near the bottom. And it has some information here. We can click on the help if we need that. We can click on some other things. This is one of the add-ons that is free, but there's a limit on the number of emails you can send per day unless you'd like to buy a premium subscription. Right now, we're going to click on the Start Email, and this is how the add-on works. Pops up, says, hey, you want to start another email? And it says, if you're going to be sending more than this number of messages a day, you might want to think about buying one of these plans. But we don't need to worry about that. We're only going to send out a few emails, so we click the Skip button. And I've already set this up earlier, but what basically I put in here is I put my name in here. And you could have multiple names in here. I could have something after my name, like Anthony Lusky, the doggy sweater expert, or whatever it might be. The next area is where we have to find that template. So if we click on this little drop down, it'll show us all the drafts I have available. And we're going to go right up to the one that says Pets Doggy Sweater. We'll click on that. And now we have that set up as our template. We can click to track emails that are open, bounced, etc. This is designed for sort of a mailing campaign that you might do. So that's why all those extra features are there. And you can add more features to that. But we're just simply going to go ahead and we're going to click on the Send Emails. Now, if I would do this, all the emails would go out to the people with these fictitious email addresses that I have in here. Those are not real. So instead, I'm going to send myself a test message. And that will allow a message to go to my account and very much mimic what you would see with the add-on itself. And it may take a few seconds for my messages to come through here. There we go. Notice Barker's doggy sweater. So we've actually pulled information directly out of the spreadsheet. In this case, we took the dog's name, and we took the person's name that ordered the sweater, and then we said your pet Barker has its sweater been knitted in its favorite color, in this case crimson. So again, we pull this from the spreadsheet of data. So when we go back here, you'll see that this particular person had Barker as the pet, crimson as the color, and their name was on there. So again, if I clicked on the send all the emails, those will go out to all of our listing here. So that is Yet Another Mail Merge. Let's move on to our next one. Our next one is also one that's very useful for forms. Eric and myself have a conference we run each year, and people submit proposals to present. And we use a Google form. The results come into a Google Sheet, and then we go through and we evaluate the sessions and pick out the ones we're going to be able to do that year. We have a limited number of spots available, and we get quite a few submissions. So we want to look at them all. Now, you could look at them by scrolling up and down, but the problem is, in our case with the proposals, they run all the way across the page. So not only are we scrolling up and down, but we're also having to look through the page, scroll left to right. So nice thing to do is take this information that Sue has submitted and make it into one single Google document. In this case, what I did is I took some teachers, some grades, their favorite quote, some of their students, etc., etc. And we're going to take this information and we're going to bring it into our Google Doc instead of in the spreadsheet format. So the way this add-on works is we go to add-ons, and then we go down to Save as Doc. We click on Start. Again, as you notice, all the add-ons, let's zoom in here just a little bit for you all. All the add-ons open up, or most of the add-ons open up a window on the right. Yet Another Mail Merge does not, but most of them do. and it's asking me here, what do I want to call my file? So it's going to create a Google Doc. What do I want to call it? We'll call it webinar. Oops, let's spell it right. Webinar test doc. Then it asks us, do we want to include the headings? Well, yeah, I do want to have the headings because each page is going to just have the information. So I'd like to know what the heading that information follows under. And it says, where's the headers at? Or they're in our first row. And it's asking us for the column heading style. We don't really worry too much about that. The thing we do want to do is we want to add a page break after each row so that each person's submission will be on one, or if it's on multiple pages, that's okay, but then everyone will start on a new page. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save as Doc. And it only takes a few seconds. It'll generate the document. It's done. If we click on Open the Doc now, we will see that document from our sheet, and hopefully it should fill in here with our information. And we had a little bit of failure to communicate. So let's go ahead and close this document here, and we'll do that one more time. I forgot to click to select everything. So now that I've selected everything, hopefully we will get some information. That's one of the things about spreadsheets. The same rules apply when using the add-ons as when you're using them without the add-ons. You need to select the information you want. So notice here, here's all of our headers: teacher, grade, quote. There's Sue, the teacher, first grade, her quote, her students, the time that she has her class, her favorite color, and a paragraph of nonsense. Notice we then have a page break, and we start with teacher Tom. And for each of those rows, we have a corresponding sheet. So if I go down here, again, look at my add-on, you'll see that Bob is right here. He teaches second grade, all the information. And we look at our sheet, and we see Bob teaches second grade, all of his information on one nice sheet ready to go. So that is Save to Doc. That's our add-on. Now, our next add-on is going to deal with duplicates. Now, there's a number of different ways you can deal with duplicates. There's some special formulas you can create, some functions you can utilize. There's many ways to deal with duplicates. This add-on is just one example of them. Now, what I need to do is I need to go over here and close my previous add-on because we're not going to use Save with Docs. We go to our add-on sheet again. Let's go ahead and select all of our information first before we get started. Go down to our add-on, and this one is under duplicates, and it's called Remove Duplicates. So you notice right here we have a couple choices. We can either compare columns or sheets to find out whether we have duplicates there, but that's not what we're interested in this case. We want to go through this list of states, and we want to remove all the duplicate listings of states. So we simply go to Find Duplicates or Uniques. It's going to open up a little window for us, and it basically says, where's your information? Well, notice we've highlighted it earlier, and it stayed highlighted. It's in column A, rows 1 through 31. It asks that we want to make a backup copy. We're not going to worry about that in this case. And now we just click the Next button. Now it gives us a couple choices. Do we want to find the duplicates and exclude the first instance? Do we want to find the duplicates plus the first occurrence? And do we want to find uniques only? So in this case, we want to find unique names only. We want to remove all the duplicates, so we're just going to choose uniques, and that'll only find the unique names that are in here. Click Next, and we have a couple choices on how we set it up. We're just going to go ahead and click on Next, and we can deal with that in a few moments here. Now it's asking us, what do we want to do with things that are not unique? Do we want to add a color? Do we want to copy it to another location? We're just simply going to delete all the rows that have duplicates in them. So when I click on Finish, it will go ahead and shrink our 37 rows down to 16. So we have 16 unique state names, or 15 unique state names, I'm sorry, in our list there of 30 plus. So again, that removed all the duplicates. Again, we could use it in different ways if we wanted to just mark the duplicates. If we want to compare different columns for duplicates, again, that add-on is called Remove Duplicates. Let's move on to our next add-on. Our next add-on uses something called Insert Delete. Now, this is one of our first add-ons that really brings some Excel type of functionality to a Google spreadsheet. So some of you may be familiar with the fact that when you go into Excel, if you highlight a number of cells, you can right click on it and you can say delete. And you notice that we don't have that choice on our Google Sheets menu. When we do it under Excel, when we hit delete here, then it says, well, what do you want to do with the rest of the data? It might say, do you want to move the remaining data to the left? Do you want to move it up from the bottom? Well, Google Sheets doesn't do that, so we cannot move that. So let's say I wanted to, in Excel, I wanted to take this whole column out. I can simply click on delete. It would ask me what I want to do. I say move everything to the left, and it'll be just like the column wasn't there any longer. The way this works is a little bit different, but it works very similar. We just go up to the add-on called Insert Delete, and it asks us, what do you want to do? Do you want to insert and shift things? Do you want to delete or shift things? So let's go in here and we'll just highlight a section of information. We'll just take this right here. We'll take this this part of the row out. So we go to the add-on. I'm going to say that I want to insert delete, and we're going to delete, and we're going to shift up the cells at the bottom. So notice right now we have the word Alan is the first name, and below the area we're going to delete is David. So David should move up to row 5 where Alan was. So we're going to go ahead and click on delete, shift up. Takes a few seconds, and voila. Just the same way as Excel works, but instead of right clicking, we have to go up to the add-ons menu and go ahead and do that. If we want to insert some spaces in here, we could do this with Excel. We want to insert some blank spaces. Do the same thing. Add-on, go to insert and delete. And this time we're going to say we want to insert and we want to shift down. So you'll watch that David will shift down to the bottom to row 9 from row 5, and we will have 4 blank rows, blank spaces above it. And there we go. So this is the first example of one of our Excel-like tools to let you use Google Sheets if you're not very comfortable with some of the tools that are different. This is one tool that there really is no replacement for in Google Sheets. So this is one you might really like to have. And again, that is called Insert and Delete Cells. That is the add-on for that. Let's move on to our next one. And for this one, I did a little bit of work ahead of time. And what I've done is I've taken some states and I've given them names. I need to zoom out just a little bit here. We're a little too close. And you can see that I just put in 19 states. What I did then is I went through and I changed the background color for whether it was in the northeast. Let's find northeast, southeast in yellow, southwest in orange, and northwest in a light blue color, and then central states, sometimes known as Midwest or central states, have a purple background. So what I've done is I've given each of these a different background. As far as the text colors, what I did is I simply went through the list when it was alphabetically arranged and gave the first 4 or 5 one color, the next set another color, and so forth. So we have 2 different types of colors we can sort on in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our add-ons and I'm going to go to sort by color. You notice when we go to sort by color, it says, do you want to sort the cell color or do you want to sort the font color? Let's sort the cell color first. When we click on this, it will go through and you will see, oops, let's try that one more time. Again, didn't have it highlighted. So let's go down and sort by color, sort by cell color. And notice what it did. You might have noticed that for just a second there, in column B, it showed the hexadecimal representation of that color. So what it did is it read what the hexadecimal color was, and then it used those numbers to sort the color. So the colors are based on the lowest hexadecimal number to the highest hexadecimal number. Let's undo that. And I'll do that one more time real quick so you can see it because it went by really fast. So let's just, oh, there they are. See, there's our hexadecimal colors. We're going to go through and we're going to delete these, but you notice that's what it did to figure out how it was going to sort it. So we'll just delete these for a moment. What we want to do now is we're going to highlight our data again. This time we want to sort by the text color, not the background color. So I'm going to go up here to add-ons, go to sort by color. This time I'm going to choose font color, and what will happen is Again, it reads the hexadecimal code for that font, that color, and notice it's changed them. Now, to make it even easier to see, I'm going to change the background so they're all the same. That way you'll be able to see that the font is changed. And I'm going to change the backgrounds to pink. So we'll do that, and you'll notice now that you can see that each of the font colors, the green, the white, the orange, and so forth, have sorted. And I have unfortunately I had the little freeze bar there. That's why California got messed up, because I had it frozen, the little scroll bar. By the way, if you grab that and drag it down, it makes the scroll. And I had that down by accident. That's why California is at the top. So again, that add-on is called Sort by Color. Our next add-on is something called Random Generator. Now, there's a lot of websites out there, and I'm going to show you in a moment where some of those are at that let you create random data. But random data is really good work with your class, because then you don't have to worry about, giving out real information, but it looks like real information. So we'll come back to this in just one second. I want to first jump over to the spreadsheet, and there's a link to the spreadsheet on the web page under the help materials, or you can also go to the spreadsheet resource page by going to tiny.cc/SS123, and that'll take you to the spreadsheet resource page. And on here there's a whole lot of stuff on spreadsheets. This whole section is on spreadsheet add-ons. The black based one is the one I created, but there's other ones here on add-ons available. And again, also, if you're not that familiar with spreadsheets, go back and take a look at Spreadsheets 101 and 102 webinars. But down near the bottom here on the left, or the middle, you notice they have a bunch of sites for creating random data. And I really like Random.org. I love Macaru. Macaru lets you generate realistic data. It lets you generate quite a bit. If you want to get really crazy and do thousands and thousands of rows, there's a cost for it. But for the normal amount you'll be using in school, not really a problem at all. And when you bring up Macaru, it just opens up another page here, and it says, hey, what kind of data do you want to put in there? And there's all different kinds of data, and you can sort and come up here and say, I want to find states. I want to get states in there randomly, or I want 2-character abbreviations for states, or I want names, and my names I want are going to be first name female, first name male, etc. So I can do that to generate data, and that's called Macaru. It's not an add-on, but it's a really neat site. And again, that is linked to the spreadsheet site, and you can get to the spreadsheet site either by going to my webpage, or you can also go to it directly by tiny.cc/SS123. So let's go back to our add-on sheet. And this is another add-on that works right in Google Sheets to generate some random data for us. So this lets you do a variety. So we're going to click on add-ons. We're going to go down to the random generator. And then when it starts up, it's going to open up on the right-hand side. So we're going to zoom in here a little bit, so you can see it a little better. And you'll notice we have little drop downs to choose what we want. We're going to start off with an integer first. And you notice that we have one here already. I have a 48 just to remind me of what I want to put there. So we simply choose how many cells we want to fill by going down through the rows, and we choose what range we want to use. I'm going to use, let's see, we'll start 25. So we'll start with people who are probably out of college and up to possibly retirement age. If I click this unique button, it's only going to make one of each random number the same. So we will not get like 226s or 264s, etc. But I'm going to leave that unchecked in this case. Highlight this row I want, fill up 13 cells, click on the big red generate button, and there we go, random data. If we click on it again, it'll generate another set of random data right where we were at. And if we click on it again, another set of random data. So you notice we can keep doing that. We can change our scale here. Let's go from 1 to 1000, and we'll generate random data. And now you notice we have numbers all the way up to 800s and all the way down to 19s. So again, this is our random generator. Again, if I choose unique values here, you notice that we will get no values that are the same, but they are still unique. Let's go down to our next one, and this is for finding values that are not just integers, but any type of number. So we can use decimal points in this case. And so let's say I want to put information in this row here, and I want to start with 0.1. I want to go all the way up to 100.1. I'm going to uncheck the unique values, click on generate, and you're going to notice it's going to generate values for me with decimal points. They aren't simply integers like the other case. Let's go down to our Boolean section. Our Boolean section basically has two different types of information we put in. We can put a yes, no, or true, false. So this is great if you want to be able to generate some random information for sorting something based on true, false, or yes or no. So we'll just highlight the section we want. Let's pick true, false. I'm going to pick yes, no. Click on generate. And there we go. Randomly generate some yeses and nos. So we could have names here of students, and we could randomly generate whether they were going to have, I don't know, let's say they were going to get to go to lunch first. So we can click on this and generate it again. And the ones that are yes would get to go first. The ones that are no would have to wait and get in line later. So we can generate Boolean data. We can also generate dates. Now, the neat thing about dates is we can choose whether we want it to be any date, or we can simply make it only work dates. And if we do that, it'll only be days when someone's going to be working. And let's say we make it unique. Those will be unique days when someone will be working. Let's pick a month here. Let's start with October 1st, and we'll go all the way to December 31st. And this is going to be the day that you have to clean the refrigerator. So we'd have everyone's name listed here, and we're going to simply say, this is the date that you need to clean the refrigerator, because I know in your school's lounge, just as in our lounge, some people leave things in the refrigerator forever. So we're going to click on generate, and it's going to generate a date for each of these people. Notice I chose unique, so two people wouldn't be cleaning the refrigerator on the same day. So this tells each person who would be, their name would be magically here, which we don't have, what day they need to clean the refrigerator. Our next one is a custom list, so we can really get fancy. It starts off with some things like weekdays and months, but then we can create our own. And what I did is I created my own. I simply went in here and created my own by going to new list, and then I typed in the ones I wanted. And then it brought those in and gave me that as an option. So notice now I have northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest, central. So if I come in here and I want to generate some information randomly on what part of the country they're in, I just highlight the rows I wanted in. I choose from my list that I selected right there, and I hit generate, and you'll notice everyone will get, oops, try that again. Let's make sure we're on my list and not on the other list. So we need to come down here and click on this list. Click on generate, and now we will generate a location for everyone in the country based on my list that I had before. So this would be a great one. You can put your student names right in here. Just copy and paste them from your information system. Let's just grab some student names here. I know I have some somewhere. Let's just jump over here to, we'll just grab these names right here. And we'll go back to our random numbers, and we're done with all this, so we can get rid of all these pages. And let's put some names in here. So let's paste special, and we only need one set of names. So there we go. So now I could take this information and I can highlight this, and I can create a new list based on that information. So if I wanted to create a new list in here, I would simply hit new list. I'd say, where's the information at? And I give it a name. I call it students. Okay. And now what it's going to do is it's going to generate random things for each student. So let's say we had someone erasing the board, and we had someone opening the door, and I'm not going to type correctly here. I'm just going to get some information there and so forth. We could have all these tasks listed right here over and over again, whatever task we want. We can simply come into this column, say we want to go to students. We want to do unique values so that it only does one student for each value. We click on generate, and it will generate a list of random students, and we didn't have enough students to do all of our tasks. So there we go. So each of these students was randomly assigned a task that they would do. So again, this is random generator. It's really neat. One last thing I want to show you, and that is the section on strings. Strings let you put things in like random. Let's say we want to generate some random Social Security numbers. Well, to do a random Social Security number, we know that we're going to need to have a certain amount of characters in there. And what we basically want, we want 1, 2, 3. Let's take our turn on mask here. 1, 2, 3. Put a dash in. 1, 2. Put a dash in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we can generate a Social Security number that matches this. Well, we don't have any letters in Social Security numbers. We don't have any spaces. So we just want to use the digits 0 through 9. And we're going to go ahead and click on this, and we're going to just choose an area to generate some. We're going to click on this, and notice it will generate fake Social Security numbers. You can use these when you're registering for your next credit card. But this is a really great way to be able to have students work with data that's not real but looks real. And you can do the strings in all different fashions. There's a variety of different strings, and you can make your own custom string like I just did now. Let's say we want to generate some license plates here. We want to add some letters to this, and we're going to say we just worry about the string length. We want all of our license plates to be 8 characters long. We don't want any spaces, so we're going to highlight these. Of course, we want them to be in there, so we're going to click on this right here, and there are our random license plate numbers. And again, if we reduce our string size and regenerate our data, you'll notice now we only get 4 digits. And because one started with a letter, it jumped into a different spot. And for those of you that know about spreadsheets, realize that that's why it jumped over there. So now we've generated some random. So this is a really neat thing to play with, this random generator. Let's go ahead and close that. Let's go to our next item here in our add-ons. And I think I might have scrolled over a little too far. Let's see. That looks like we're right. Okay, so our next one I want to talk about is Geo Code. And Geo Code is a really interesting thing. I love maps. Anyone that knows me knows that I love maps. And when you go to Geocoder, it's by Awesome Tables, by the way. Awesome Tables makes a number of add-ons that are really neat, and they also make some things that you can use in web pages. So we're going to click Start on Geocoder. And if I have no information there, it would say, hey, you don't have any information. Do you want to generate some information? So that's what I did a little earlier, and it generated information with name, address, height of the tallest structure in the building, and in the city, told us what the structure type was and what it's used for. So we have all this information generated ahead of time for us. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit so you can see it a little better. And there's our information. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to simply click on the Geocode button and watch what happens. It inserted 2 columns, and it's calculating the longitude and latitude to the center of each of these cities in each of these countries. And it lost my internet connection. So hopefully my webinar is still going along here. We'll see. It's working. Come on back, Geocode. So let's go back to Geocode, and hopefully it will be able to continue this time. Oh, it looks like Geocode is not going to load real quick, so we'll skip Geocode for a moment here, and we'll move on to our next item temporarily. We'll come back to Geocode. This is called Puzzle Solver. We'll go ahead and close Geocode, and this is a really just off-the-wall type of thing. And it's right here. It's called Puzzle Solving Functions, and it's sort of a weird add-on, but I just want to give you an example. It turns Braille into letters and back and forth. One of the things it does is it takes Morse code and it converts it from a dot and a dash, or a dit and a da is what we really call those in Morse code. And if I put this formula across the bottom here, I tell it where I want to go to find my information. Oh, come on, Geocode. Well, we just lost our page there. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do Puzzle Solver. Okay, let's go over to our next item while we're waiting for those 2 to recover. Hopefully they'll get back. And now I'm waiting for the internet to refresh my page. Please stand by while we wait for the internet to cooperate here. And of course, that sheet's not going to work. So we're going to have to close that sheet, and then we're going to reopen it here in a moment. So let's go ahead and reopen the sheet here. Unfortunately, I have 2 copies of the sheet. So in case we run into any problems, I had a copy made. So let's just quickly go back and grab that copy of this sheet. We'll go down to Sheets, we'll go to Drive. We'll go to our recent sheets, and this is the sample sheet that I've shared with you all. We're going to go ahead and open it up here. And we're going to go back over and we'll see if Geo Code goes ahead and works for us right now. So we'll go back to Geo Code and give it a try again. Remove these 2. Delete these columns. Okay, let's go ahead and try Geo Code again. So let's go in here to Geo Code and let's go to Add-ons. And we'll come down, we'll say Start Geocoding. You'll notice that again, it will create our 2 columns for us. And it appears we are still having some internet issues. So we're going to move on from Geo Code for a few moments here to one of our other items. And what we're going to look at now is something called split names. Split names is something that, again, you can use something called split function in Google Docs. Or if you're more used to splitting names using other factors, you can utilize it. So here I have the names split out a little bit. I'm going to take this column out of here, and we will split these names. So let's go ahead and we want to split these names out into something similar to this table. So again, my names, my addresses, my state, and my age are all mixed together here. So let's go ahead and separate them out. And if I simply click here on the add-on, get on to split names, you're going to see the split names has a couple features that are designed specifically for names as opposed to just splitting information in general. Notice we have a choice that says we have a first name. Yes, we do. Do we have a middle name? Yes, we do. Do we have a last name? Yes, we do. And we could put in other information here if we had like Mr. or Senior, etc., and it would look for that piece of information. In this case, we don't. We have a state and we have the age. Click on split. And you notice it splits them for us very nicely, and they're over here and they're split, and our age got cut off the end. I'm not sure why, but it split everything else just fine for us here. So notice that this person had 2 names in there, and it did not cooperate quite right. So let's go ahead and try that one more time. Take out this blank row up top. And let's go to split names again. First name, last name, and we'll go ahead and say split. And that time, we still did not get the right thing because it kept the names together. We're having a really fun time here right now. This sometimes happens to me also, so don't worry if it happens to you. Let's try Geo Code again, and let's see if it'll cooperate right now. And again, it looks like we're going to have to come back to Geo Code later, and unfortunately, we are having some internet issues. So let's move over to our next one. This is part of a group of tools called data tools. And if we go to the add-ons for data tools, you notice that we have a couple different things we can do from data tools. We can remove duplicates similar to what we did before. We can also do text to columns. And this again is one of those E's on the chart that show you things that are similar to the way it works in Excel as opposed to the split function, which we would use in Google Sheets. So if I go text to columns, it basically does the same thing. It asks you how is it delimited. In this case, it is a space. So we'll click on the space button, and notice it's going to give us a preview, and the preview looks pretty good. Click on execute, and again, very similar, much more similar to what Excel does as opposed to what is done by Google Sheets. So when we go back here, let's just resize these a little better so we can see everyone. You notice it did everything. It split our names, and in this case, notice we did not have a middle name, so it did not move Gomez over into this area here. It left a blank spot for the middle name. So that's really great because, as many of you know, when you're doing text to columns, a lot of times, if you have one line that's different than others, it'll cause some problems. So you notice that it was able to split it there, and in this case where we had abbreviations, BJ, it put them in the right spot. So that was pretty neat the way it did that. So that is one of the tools in Data Tools. Now, another tool in Data Tools is something that sort of drives me crazy. People like to submit forms, and when they do, they use upper, lower, all upper, and proper. So these names are in a format that I'm not real happy with. Let's make them a little larger so you can see them better. So we have some problems with these names. So if we want to change these names, we can simply come in here, go to our add-ons, again, go to Data Tools. This is the same one we went to earlier, but we go down to a different tool this time. We go down to text manipulation. And it says, hey, what do you want to do with these? Do we want them all in lowercase? Do we want them all in uppercase? Or do we want to change them into proper case? So when I do that, it's going to go ahead and it's going to change each of the ones that were different, and now they're all proper. Now, we could have done this using the Google and Excel functions. They're both the same. We could use the proper function, and it would have done the same thing. But notice we would have to type it in, refer to what cell it is. So the data tool was a quick way to do that without having to know about what the formulas were. Okay, Power Tools. Power Tools is like the Swiss Army knife of add-ons. If we go down to add-ons, we go to Power Tools, you're going to see that there is a huge number of Power Tools. So we can go into some of them from right here. But if we go to Start, it brings up a little control panel for us. And we'll zoom in a little bit more here, just a little bit. And you'll be able to see the tools. Now, Power Tools is one of the ones that has both free and paid content in there. So if you go to some of them, you'll see when you highlight it, it says this is only available in the Pro version. Well, don't worry, because there's lots of stuff that's available in the non-Pro version that you will find very useful. Another thing that it does down at the bottom here is it also tells you the tools you've used most recently. And if you use a tool a lot, it'll be in the favorites list. So you can mark a tool by using this little arrow, this little button, and then it'll show up in your favorites list. So again, recently used tools, we can scroll down through the ones I've recently used, or we can put a little star on them and they show up in our favorite tools. So what do we have here? Well, the first section we have is called Remove, and it can remove extra spaces, delimiters, characters, etc. So sometimes you might go through and someone has a bunch of commas in something, and you really don't want commas, you want to remove them. This tool will let you do that. You can also go in and remove certain characters. Let's say if there's a character that's been added, extra space has been added, or a hyphen that's been added extraneously. This can be used to go in and remove those type of things. We also have something called Clear. And we go into Clear, you notice we have a submenu saying, what do we want to do? Do we want to clear the formatting? Do we want to clear numbers? Or do we want to clear it all? So if I highlight a section and click on the Clear All, it's going to clear everything, and it will go through and it will remove everything. So let's go back and we'll take that back. Again, you notice we could do different things. So let's put some information in here real quick. Let's put some numbers and some text, and maybe put in some more numbers and some more text. So now we have some information right here we can work with. I'm going to center this so you can see it a little better. And there's our information. And let's format some of them. Let's make this a nice, bold, and let's make it a bright orange color. And let's take this one and let's make this have a different color. Let's make it bright green. So now we have some information here. We're going to go and take all these off, and we're going to say that we want to clear formatting and we want to clear text. So we want to clear numbers. So we're going to take out the numbers and we're going to take out all the formatting. So when I hit clear now, watch what happens. Magically, both of our numbers went away and all of our different colors went away. So clear is a great way to go in and clean up something that's messy and remove different things from it. I know quite often you run into the case if you put in a link, www.google.com, you hit enter and it turns it blue. And you say, why did it turn blue? Because it made it into a hyperlink. Well, that's great. A lot of times I want it to be a hyperlink, but let's say I don't want it to be a hyperlink. And let's say, unfortunately, that I have a ton of different ones in here. I could go through each one and click on it, right click on it, unlink, and do that over and over again. But that's really time consuming. I could grab my whole page here. If it's all full links, I can simply come in here. I can go down here where it says clear hyperlinks and watch what happens. It'll remove all the items that are hyperlinks from our document if you'd like to. Let's move on to our next tool here under Power Tools. Let's go back for clear. And that is we have the ability to split any character or string. So what we could do, for example, is let's take something here and let's clear this out a little bit. And let's come in here and say that we want to split anything in this sheet by a certain letter. So let's click on this, and we could choose to either do it by different types of things. We can choose to use a header to split it, so we can split names. We can also split positions. So this is very similar to what you would do in Excel when you use the non-delimited format or the fixed width. So it gives you the same type of split by position that the fixed width gives you in the Excel, as opposed to using the split function from Google Docs. If we go down to data, you notice that we have a lot of choices here. We can remove duplicates. Again, that's in the Pro version, as are all of these in this particular section. So we're not going to worry about the data section very much. But these are some of the tools that are available in Power Tools for us to use. Let's go back and see if some of our other add-ons are cooperating. Well, one of the nice things about data fields, if we come in here and we want to merge all this information, one of the things we run into quite often when you're trying to merge information is not all of your rows are the same. And if not all of your rows are the same, we're going to stop our screen sharing here for just a moment and then restart it. Sorry for the delay there. We're having a few little issues today. Let's go ahead and hopefully we have the right one. And let's present. Unfortunately, our screen sharing has appeared to have stopped, which makes this very difficult to continue the process. We'll try one more time to see if we can get it to cooperate here. Well, unfortunately, I think that's going to be the end of our webinar for today due to the fact that we're not able to continue to share the sheet. So again, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties today. We had a variety of them. Definitely take a look at Geo Coder. It's really neat. Once it generates the map for Geo Coder, once it generates the longitude and latitude, it actually lets you generate a map. And that map has a slider on it that lets you select between different types So we could go in and say we only want towers of a certain height or buildings of a certain height. So again, Geo Code is a very neat tool to use, and I wish I could show it to you right now, but we're not going to be able to do that. Well, let's just give one last try here and see if we can get to share our screen. And I don't think we are going to be able to. So again, the resources for this are available at tiny.cc/SPARCC234. Again, that's tiny.cc/SPARCC234. And I probably will record another little session and put it on the same page showing you the add-ons we were not able to get through in this first broadcast. So I will do that and have that available for you in the future. Again, please take a look at all of our webinars. Take a look and go ahead and go through our webinars and learn about a variety of subjects. Again, as I said, we have 39. When you complete each one, you can get 1 hour of credit. So unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye for today, and we'll be back with our next webinar soon. Thank you.